All right, going to take you through 2.0 components and terminology. This is one of the better written sections of the rulebook. It's all pretty straightforward. So let's jump right in. So first up is, of course, there's a game map. It's hexagonal. The map will show different terrain types. One of the things that's really was challenging for me and kind of continues to be is the elevations. The slight coloration changes indicate elevations. For all the maps that I've played so far, there's a key that's a visual key, and it'll show you that in this map, slightly lighter is lower elevation than darker. So darker is higher elevation. So 1813 hex right here is higher than 1915 hex. And sometimes they flip around and different things like that. But the waters, the streams, the roads, the woods, those are all pretty much exactly what you would expect them to look like. So let's flip back to the rulebook. Okay, so that's the map. There are counters, of course. So we have combat units. Combat units is a definition in the game. It's a type. And there are three, let's call them subcategories to combat units: infantry, cavalry, and artillery. Cavalry have two states, mounted or dismounted. And so that is typically different chits. And then the inverse side of the chit is a disordered. So you see like a little DO there for most of the games. Sometimes it's got a line in it. And really, I think the biggest thing that is hard to immediately grasp is a leader is not a combat unit. So even though they are a chit in the game and they have in-game abilities and impacts and can be shot at sometimes, that requires them to be stacked with a combat unit. So combat units are what do the combat, rightfully. So then you have informational markers. So there's a few different types. Most of them are statuses for the different combat units, or fatigue tracking for the leaders and things like that. They're really, every battle book and every game kind of has its own set of neat stuff. Like the By Swords and Bayonets that just came out has a drunkenness one. I'm newer to GBACW, so that may be very common, but for me that was a new one. It was kind of cool. So they have different things in there. But there's 4 levels to the leaders: Army Commander, Corps Commander, Division Leader, and Brigade. And of course they're star marked, and you can see here the different indicators. Like I said, this part of the rulebook's good. It is straightforward and helps you understand. Activation markers help you track who does turns and things like that. Charts and tables. So really, this is going to come straight out of the battle book. I have a scanned copy of Millspring's terrain effect chart for reference for you. So every battle, every box you buy will have terrain effects charts that are unique. And again, you can see they show you a picture of on the map what that hex is going to look like. And then you have the various MP costs depending on the 4 categories. Please note that 3 of these are combat units, 1 are not, but the leaders do have their own TEC. And then everything's defined here, like OTIH is other terrain and hex, and things like that. Then they'll tell you what effects that hex has on shooting, on hand-to-hand combat, can it block line of sight, things like that. The game scale for most of the games I've played, most units that you're going to see, like this infantry unit, is going to be a regiment. The strength indicator, generally speaking, you times that by 50, and that will give you an idea of the size of the unit. So in the rule book, the 90th New York at this point, where they're using it, is 9 times 50, 450, so 450 men in this regiment. And artillery, that's in brackets, that strength, that is 1 gun. So these are 4 guns. So the 17th Indiana, in this case, has 4 guns, and they're all TBs in this. The game uses a D10. The D10 for this game is 0 is read as 0. It's not a 10. So 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. UDD will be something you roll a lot. It is rolled off a unit's cohesion rating. Cohesion ratings are defined up here. You can see right there for that infantry, it's a 6. For the artillery, it's a 7. The game has various adjustments. The UDD, the rule book, kind of gives you a soft like, hey, there might be some weird things out there about a UDD, but generally speaking, you're going to adjust for whatever the situation is. Are you already disordered, et cetera, then roll your UDD. And then they've got a pretty good job here of just laying out for you common vernacular you're going to find in the rule book. And then they do have a very active, GBACW has a very active Facebook community. And then, Board Game Geeks. And then I've never been to Consim World. They say it's where to go. So I'm going to say that they're right. So really that's section 2.0. Pretty straightforward. It's a good section of the rule book. It really does give you a good starting off point for most stuff. All right.